joining us again here at BoxersandBrawlers.com here in Studio 1601. We are your hosts. I'm Alvin.
I'm JD.
And I'm DJ Ammunition.
And we look forward to bringing you the latest in the sweet science, which is boxing in 2015. New year, new fights, new action. And this is the first edition of 2015 Fight Breakdown. John David, next week, this coming weekend, January 17th, we got Stiverne versus Deontay Wilder. How do you see that fight?
It's going to be a great fight. I expect there to be a lot of action for as long as it lasts. Now, I personally don't think it's going to go long. I'm going to go with 3 rounds or less with Deontay Wilder in a knockout.
Wow, that's
yeah.
I mean, you see it that much. Personally, I think it's going to go further than that. I mean, I'm kind of in a fence with this because Deontay Wilder really hasn't been tested, although he's been tested previously more than Stiverne. If you take out Chris Arreola, Deontay Wilder has a better opposition.
Definitely. Now, with Chris Arreola being on Stiverne's resume, you got to think that Deontay Wilder has Liakovic on his resume, former world champion of the world. So he's been in the ring with some world champions. I just think that he's going to use his reach advantage over Stiverne, and Stiverne does get hit, and I think Deontay Wilder has enough power to take him out within the first 3 rounds.
Now, we know Stiverne can go 12 rounds.
Yes. Because
he the first fight with Arreola, I think it was they went the distance, and Stiverne won a unanimous decision in that fight. But so we know he can go the distance. Now, can Deontay Wilder go? I mean, he's only been 4 rounds, right?
Yeah, definitely. He's got 100% knockout percentage. So, yeah, I mean, even with that, I feel he's going to get the knockout and keep his 100% knockout.
At that, only 3 guys have escaped a knockout from Stiverne, too. Now, for the record, you got it less on 3 for Deontay Wilder. What do you got?
I got Stiverne. I think he's going to go the distance. I think he's going to be able to, I guess, keep up with Wilder. At this point, I would say keep up with Wilder. Wilder does have greater opposition in his past fights. Stiverne was just basically with Arreola. He went to 12 rounds the first time he fought him. The second time, Arreola had a big problem, thinking that, I guess because he made his nose bloody.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they did the rematch because Arreola came out and said, "Hey, he beat me because I couldn't breathe."
Yeah. And
so they went back and they did the fight again, where we all know that Arreola got knocked out.
Yeah, he got knocked out pretty bad. So I put my vote towards Stiverne. I see it going the distance, and I think he's just gonna come and do what he does and beat Wilder.
So to me, like, I think they're both gonna get hit. I mean, I think Deontay Wilder's going to hit Stiverne, and he can take a punch because Arreola hit him with everything. And he can take a punch. He's got a beard. To me, there's still several questions for Deontay Wilder. Can he go the distance? Can he take a punch? How's he going to act? Under pressure. Although Stiverne's not a pressure fighter, he's more of a counter puncher. How's he going to get to him? So for me, and I'm gonna go for Stiverne, and this is how I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna go in the mid rounds, and I think Deontay Wilder's gonna start out strong. He's gonna look good. He's gonna land punches, but in one of those exchanges, I think he's gonna get caught. I think he's gonna get rocked, and ultimately he's gonna get taken out.
I don't think Stiverne has what it takes to get on the inside of Wilder. Is what it is. He needs to get on the inside. That's the only way he's gonna win. I just don't think Wilder's going to let it happen. He's a big, tough, strong guy, and he's just going to keep Stiverne.
But the thing is that he likes to mix it. In order to take Stiverne out, he's going to have to get close to him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And in one of those changes, and we know Stiverne's got, he's got good hand speed.
He's got good hand speed, and he definitely has knockout power. So I mean, it's not out of the question, but I mean, my hat's going off too.
Okay. Moving on. In that same fight in the undercard, super bantamweight Leo Santa Cruz. How do you see that?
Well, we have Leo Santa Cruz. He's fighting Jesus Ruiz. Now, Santa Cruz is one of my favorite boxers out there. I see Santa Cruz beating Ruiz, and I think he's going to beat him probably in early rounds by knockout. Now, the thing is, they have really good records. Santa Cruz has 28 no losses, and then, of course, he has 16 knockouts. Now, Jesus Ruiz has 33 wins, and he has 22 knockouts, but he has 5 losses, which in two of those 5 losses, he got knocked out twice. So, you know, I see it being a really interesting match, but I think Santa Cruz is going to come out on top, and I think his pop and his endurance is just going to outmatch Ruiz.
Now, do you think that Leo Santa Cruz could possibly take Jesus Ruiz lightly in this fight, because he's relatively an unknown other than people in Mexico, because most of his fights have been in Mexico.
True.
Now, is there a possibility here, because a lot of people don't know that Ruiz is still a young man. He's 25 years old. A lot of his fights were in Mexico, and in the boxing world, per se, if you don't take care of your fighter, you overmatch him, you potentially lose. Now, could this be the problem with him, because he's 25, he's on a five-fight win streak. Now, I mean, could Leo Santa Cruz potentially lose this fight?
It's a possibility. I don't see it happening. I just think Santa Cruz, out of the two fighters, I think Santa Cruz is the better fighter. Just his style, his technique, and I just think that he's gonna outmatch. He's gonna outbox Ruiz. Ruiz is gonna come in. He's gonna do what he does. I mean, obviously he has a great record. It's just that, you know, it could also be where if Santa Cruz loses, Ruiz is again young, so he's got a lot coming for him. I mean, he's got a really good future coming up. It's just this is gonna be a good fight.
Well, it's boxing. Anything can happen in boxing, and Leo Santa Cruz can lose. Is he gonna lose? I don't think so. I think it's gonna go 12 rounds, and I think he's gonna have his way in a 12-round unanimous decision. Is what I'm looking for.
Unanimous decision, and in that fight, Ruiz is gonna be the one with the heavy hands. I mean, he's got 22 knockouts in his last 33 fights. So you got unanimous decision. You got Leo Santa Cruz taking him out within 6 rounds. Is that what you
within 6 rounds, early rounds. So we'll say around.
And I got unanimous decision for Leo Santa Cruz as well. Moving on, the following week, January 24th, exciting trilogy match. We haven't had a trilogy in a while, so this is going to be a good one. Brandon Rios versus Mike Alvarado. JD, what do you got?
It's going to be very exciting. Expect the fight to be definitely a candidate for Fight of the Year, real early in the year, first month of the year. Now, the way I see that fight going is it's all going to depend on which Mike Alvarado shows up. Are we going to get Mike Alvarado the slugger, or are we going to get Mike Alvarado the boxer?
Boxer-puncher.
Boxer-puncher, definitely. So that's going to play a big role in my decision. If I had to choose right now, I believe Mike Alvarado is going to go into the fight with the game plan of boxing and punching. He was very successful with it in his second fight, and that's what won him the fight. If he goes into slug, he's going to get KO'd, I believe.
Well, I mean, to me, this is what bothers me with Mike Alvarado. He's lost 4 of his last fights, or 3 of his last 4 fights. He lost to Marquez. He lost to Provodnikov. Provodnikov. He lost to Provodnikov. But so he's got some trouble behind him here recently. He's got a gun charge. You know. So
and he was at. I just read it. He was actually. They did actually press charges on him for it.
So he's got a lot on his plate right now. Where So I don't know how all that is gonna affect him in the ring. So to me, Brandon Rios won against Chavez. Of course, it was kind of a controversial win, but it was a win. You know, he beat a very game Chavez. You know, so who recently drew with Bradley. So to me, I think Brandon Rios is going to be able to overwhelm him with punches to where I think ultimately he'll win that fight. Yeah, to me, I think it'd either be a late round stoppage or a decision on that fight. What do you think, Steven?
Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. I mean, you want to look at their records. Rios and Alvarado, they have a very similar record. Rios, you got 32 wins, you got 2 losses, and then you got 23 knockouts, and then you got Alvarado. I mean, he's 34 wins, 3 losses, and 23 knockouts. So same, pretty much the same record.
Pretty close.
I don't know. I mean, as much as I want to see Brandon Rios come out on top, I think Mike Alvarado's going to show up, and I see him winning 12 rounds, a unanimous decision.
Now, for a lot of these fighters, they say that their sanctuary is in the ring. So maybe, that's where he'll perform the best,
Maybe that's where he'll let it all out.
Yeah. Now, on that undercard, Gilberto Ramirez Sanchez, El Zurdo de Oro. We talked to him. We had the privilege to interview him here in San Antonio when he fought here in San Antonio. What do you see that? What do you see in that fight?
He's fighting against Maxim Vlasiv, 30-1, 15 KOs, 50% knockout percentage. Whereas Sanchez does have a lot of power, so I'm going to go with him on a knockout.
And he's a southpaw.
And he's a southpaw, definitely. So
now in this fight, although, you know, Gilberto Ramirez is 6'2.5". So all the guys that he's fought thus far, you know, he's been able to look down at him. For the first time.
And use that range.
Maxim Vlasov, he's 6'3.5". So I think range is going to play a part in that. I mean, this is going to be his first real true test to so what he can do in the ring, you know.
Definitely. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of fireworks in that fight. What do you think, Steven?
I mean, I see Gilberto coming out on top on this one, but yeah, it is going to be an ultimate test for him because it is going to be the same height. I mean, their records, they're also pretty similar. I mean, Gilberto has more knockouts, but you're right. I mean, everybody's pretty much fought in the past. They've all been a little bit shorter than him, so he does have that range and that height advantage. You know, it's definitely going to be a really good fight, really interesting fight, and you know, hopefully Gilberto comes out on top in this one. I see him maybe pulling off a 12-round unanimous decision as well.
I got Gilberto in a mid to late round stoppage. Okay. And make sure you tune in next week where we'll be breaking down the Rocky Juarez versus Robinson Castellanos fight here in town, brought to you by Golden Boy Leja Bata Promotions here in San Antonio at Cowboys Dance Hall.
Now, another thing, y'all want to make sure to log in to boxersandbrawlers.com, create a profile, and start talking boxing with us. We're going to be posting up how you can win some signed autograph memorabilia, gloves, shirts, hats, things like that. We're going to make sure that, you know, we want to get back to our supporters. Log in, boxersandbrawlers.com, create a profile, talk boxing.
Now, also, in the first week of February, we're also going to release our new show called Matchmaker. Part of the story is where we, your host, will act as the promoter. We'll line up a boxer and see which each one of us thinks is best for that fighter. Realistic fights. Nothing too far-fetched, nothing fantasy-like. Maybe we could get some stuff going and see if we could get the boxing world to start making boxing matches that we all want to see.
Yeah, again, I mean, you see on these websites a lot of boxers that are retired. How would they fare against a current fighter? Well, we don't want that. We want boxers that can actually fight each other today. Same weight class, you know, nothing holding them back. Let's put them in the ring. You know, let's see what happens there.
Now, you're going to make sure that you don't want to miss Matchmaker because it's going to get a little heated. We're going to be, you know, basically 3 promoters. You know, everything I say is going to be right. What they say is wrong. But, you know, it's going to be pretty fun and interesting. So make sure y'all catch it. We'll be posting up updates and let y'all know when we start filming it as well.
Now, also, as you notice in Fight Breakdown, we've been emphasizing, you know, who he's picking, and who I'm picking. We're going to be posting the records of how we're doing in our picks. Maybe you can use them towards when you're in Vegas, and you can bet on that.
Maybe you could take it to the bank.